Hey, Yang Gang. Let's talk about white-collar jobs and automation. So, one of the arguments that I often hear against automation is that, you can automate a blue-collar job and then that will get replaced with someone that will have a white-collar job. Well, first of all, there's always the argument that Andrew Yang brings up, which is an outstanding argument, that you can't take every single trucker and retrain them to become coders or programmers or engineers. That's just not going to happen. Retraining has an 85% failure rate, if I've got my numbers correctly. I'm horrible at math, but I still try to think harder. And so then let's say that you do just take one person, they've lost their job to automation, and you replace that person with another person, so you still have high GDP, right? The engineer will eventually be replaced by AI-driven automation to improve the experience of engineering something. That's already been happening with Autodesk software and machine learning software for creating prototypes, engineering within 3D, within CAD. Essentially, the machine creates multiple versions of a product, presents it to the engineer, and the engineer says yes or no. And sometimes the purpose of that test that the machine does is to figure out what's going to be the strongest but yet the lightest structure for something. And so it does it all on its own, and then it comes back with the result. And a lot of times these engineers who are using this software, this auto-generative software, they just take that and then put that into production. They might test out prototypes through 3D printing, but it's not like you have 120 engineers sitting down all at one time testing out this product to make sure it works and then redesigning things. Machine learning is already doing it for you. And machine learning is not quite AI, but it's to the typical layperson, it is very close. So that's one job. Then there's the coding job. Machine learning is also learning how to code. If you can take, I'm not going to even put an if in there, okay? You can take an image and you can present that to machine learning, present it with 1,000 other images, and say, and this is a very low-level concept, and say, okay, try to find the image that can match that one. And it will look through and it'll match that one. Another example is, here's 500 images of different foods. Find the hot dogs based off of these 5 hot dogs I'm presenting you. And this is a Silicon Valley joke. If you watch Silicon Valley and you don't understand machine learning, then sit down and watch a little bit more about machine learning. Essentially, the machine will go through and find all the images of hot dogs, right? So you can do the same thing with code. You can present good code to the machine and say, this is good code. Can you start to write code like this? The machine comes back and says, hey, I've written code. And then you can highlight the different pieces of code that don't work anymore and say, no, this doesn't work. Come back again when you have better code. The machine runs again, comes back with better code. So you've eliminated the engineer. You've eliminated the coder from that. Accountants, of course, are going to be eliminated in the upcoming automation apocalypse. Also, people who, so that's accountants, booking, lawyers. Here's a really sad thing, is my son wants to be a lawyer. I'm not exactly sure why. He also wants to be a comedian, but I don't know exactly what the drive is, except for the fact that We know some people that work in law and work in taxes, and because they have this interpersonal relationship, I don't think that their jobs are going away anytime soon. But my son sees lawyers on TV, and I think that he gravitates towards people that can argue for a living, right? But that becomes really difficult as there is more legal precedent available to something like machine learning or AI. So there's another white-collar job gone. Another white-collar job would be, of course, call centers. Of course, the argument has, or not the argument, but an example has always been made by Andrew Yang that doctors who are radiologists who are seeing images or looking at things, their jobs will be removed by automation. So anything involving imagery could possibly be removed by automation. There's a lot of work being done in machine learning to create generative background designs that then artists right now are then sort of springboarding off of to create matte paintings or concept art. This is fed through NVIDIA's, I'm going to get the name wrong, I think it's called GMAP program. Essentially, it was created by some students, I believe, and then it got sold to NVIDIA. So that's being done. There's a lot of work to create 3D characters or create 2D character designs. So that takes a lot of the creativity out of the hands, or rather, really the technical ability it takes to create character art, concept art, is taken out of the hands of the artist, and what is left to them is to sort of mix and match and find what works good and then play off that a little bit. So there's another creative job. In my own job, there is software that will essentially allow you to draw on what is digital paper, a very low fidelity wireframe, and then it creates a higher fidelity wireframe for you based off of what possible colors and UI designs that you may already have for your business. You can provide that to it, and it helps train it to create buttons based off of your low fidelity design and put that into a higher fidelity design. So a lot of the tedious work of what we do creatively is being taken out of not only people who do sort of the menial back office work, but also creative jobs. In my own experience, as far back as 2008, going to SIGGRAPH and talking to visual effects companies, I even saw that a lot of the work that it takes to create matte paintings and concept art that have good composition is one being pretty much thrown out because of how Hollywood is now, but also it's quickly being eliminated by the ability to see things in previs or in 3D much faster. So it really makes me wonder what purely white-collar office jobs are going to exist in the next 30 years. Thanks, Yang Gang.